Software runs almost every business now. The businesses using it well have a real advantage, not because the software is flashy, but because it removes friction from the work that happens every day. Caribeae is a swim school that has been around for roughly 40 years. So when we started building their swim school management software, the goal wasn't to reinvent the process of how things work. A lot of software basically assumes the business is the problem. It hands you a fixed way of working and expects everyone to adapt around it. But Caribeae already had a pretty refined system. After 40 years of running a swim school, none of that was accidental. The catch was that a lot of it still lived in paper, spreadsheets, and manual admin. So the real challenge wasn't building a generic swim school app. It was taking the way Caribeae already worked and turning it into software, without removing the parts that made it work in the first place. That shaped the first decision. The software had to be built around families. One parent might have multiple children enrolled, different schedules, different payment statuses, and a history of changes over time. Most swim school software puts classes at the center, and the team running the business spends their day translating between classes and the families actually paying for them. For us, families became the place where the admin team could actually see what was happening. The second decision was payments. For a business like this, payments aren't just receipts. They tell the team who's paid ahead, who's overdue, and whether a student should keep attending a certain class. The third was context. The software wasn't going to be used in one clean office environment. We were building for admin staff at a desk, coaches checking classes between sessions, and parents on their phones, all using different views of the same system. Those decisions became obvious when the app was framed properly. Unfortunately, we couldn't see all the issues at the start, and the harder ones became obvious once the app was getting more complex. The first was around how the app handled change. As the app grew, more and more actions could affect a family's balance, including payments, moving classes, changing levels, the list goes on. We had two options: patch each case as we created it, which would have been faster and kept the build moving, or slow down and rebuild that part of the system properly, so each action runs through the same logic. The first option looked like progress, but the second one was actually the right call. Payments were too important to leave scattered throughout the app. The second hard decision was how much to build into version 1. There were plenty of useful things that we could have added. The risk was trying to add them all too early. Version 1 had a specific job: replace the fragile parts of the existing workflow without removing the things that already made it work in the first place. That meant saying no to features that were genuinely useful because they just weren't essential yet. The goal wasn't the biggest possible system. It was building a first version that was dependable and the team could rely on. That's the harder part of custom software. You're not just deciding what to build, you also have to focus in on what not to build. Every feature adds weight, and weight is development time, which means it takes longer for Caribeae to get the software that they need. So for Caribeae, the win wasn't just that they had software, it was that the software matched the way that their business already worked. In our opinion, that's what good software does. It takes the way a business already works, removes the friction around it, and gives them a strong system to move forward.